Pre-show, we start in the real show in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And we have UFC lightweight Paul Felder in the house. He'll be co-hosting today's episode. We also have Angela Hill, UFC strawweight, coming your way. She'll come in at 10:15, 10:20 a.m. Pacific time. We got to get her in there and out because the Alliance Pro practice down in San Diego starts at 10:30. So it'll be a quick one with her. She's coming off a win over Ashley Yoder about a month ago. See what's next for her. I saw her on social media, and she's looking at Rotterdam, Japan. She wants to fight, so maybe she'll call out a name. We'll see. And then we also have Ricardo Lamas. Who's first goes? No, the Colby Covington will come up first at 11 a.m. Pacific. He's coming off a win over Dong Hyun Kim in Singapore, and that was about 6 weeks ago, and he wants to get in there again. Plus, he's one of those contenders, fast-rising contenders, so you know the name Woodley will probably come up at some point. Lastly, we have Ricardo Lamas. He'll be on the show at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. He will be talking about his fight over Jason Knight. Big win for him out in Anaheim, California. He knocked him out, man. I mean, he really put an ass whooping on him. But Jason Knight was so tough that he probably took more damage than he needed to. But, you know, referee Mike Beltran gave him every chance possible. And in the end, Lamas capitalized. He won first-round stoppage, so huge win for him. He's always close to the title hunt because he's been a top 5 featherweight for a long time. I would say his best pass for a title shot is for Edgar to beat Holloway because he has not lost to Edgar, whereas he has lost to Holloway, and rematches are tough to come by sometimes. So we'll be starting up here in about 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and it'll be a fun show. Participate. Leave some messages on the Facebook. I'll be reading them. Also, you can call in 866-522-2846. We'll keep recapping UFC 214. We'll talk about tonight's Dana White Contender Series 3. You name it, we'll do it. We'll be right back.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
All right, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yes!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host, back east, handling all the producing duties. It's our producer, Danny, and sitting to my right, our special co-host for the day, UFC lightweight and UFC broadcaster, Paul Felder. What's up, Paul? How you doing, man?
I'm great. You know, back out in Vegas doing the Contender Series in a few hours, really. You know, getting ready to go. Got you guys. Do this, have some fun, shoot over there, do that, fly back to Philly tonight. And
you left out the part where about 10 days ago you beat someone up.
I did. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did get to beat somebody up and make some money.
Hometown guy too, man.
Yeah, and I can tell you the loudest, craziest crowd I've ever experienced in my life. I couldn't hear Bruce Buffer announce my name or his name when he went. It was almost, I had to kind of sit and wait like until the ref was like, you ready to go? Because you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I've heard that before. See, TV, honestly, the UFC could probably learn a little bit from Strikeforce, and I forget, I can't remember if it's Bellator. Someone has either a little bit extra pop on their mics.
I think it's Bellator.
And, for example, people were telling me I couldn't hear all the boos at UFC 214. I was like, oh, my God, they were deafening. And
yeah, you can't. Really.
And Stitch Duran told me that when he was in London for the Joshua Klitschko fight, he said he couldn't even hear Michael Buffer introducing the fighters. He says, I couldn't hear anyone. It was that loud. That needs to be transferred over. I don't want speakers to get blown out, but I still feel like there's a little bit of a muffle to all that, and I think it carries over to the fan that's watching at home.
Yeah, I think it doesn't know justice because I've seen my fight. I went, DVR'd it, was able to go back and play it and watch it, and you can't. I was trying to show, somebody like, listen, it just doesn't do it any justice. Being in there, in the cage was like, holy crap, this is insane. But it was exciting at the same time, even though I was on the receiving end of the boos. It was still like this crowd over here in Europe and in Scotland they are into this stuff now, man, like big time. They're sold on the UFC.
What about, I know a lot of times when you maybe get the boos at the beginning, but most countries when you're walking out, it's kind of like they have a new respect for you. It's over, the fight took place, but now they respect Paul Felder. Did you feel that?
Big time, yeah. And I felt it all week. The fans would come up to me, and I was taking pictures every 5 seconds. I'm not even kidding you. In the hotel and out in the city, people were recognizing me. They were great. They were just honest. They're like, look, you're fighting a Scot. We got to go with Stevie. It's we're huge fans of you as well. And afterwards, win, lose or draw, we're going to be cool with you. We'll get a drink with you. No big deal. They were booing me though when I knocked him out at first, until I was like, I didn't. Normally I'll jump on the cage and I'll do something crazy. For this fight, I was smart. I played it. I played it smart. I knew not to be over enthusiastic and over celebrate, and I wanted that crowd on my side. And I kind of, it was one of those times I really felt for my opponent a little bit, just because I can only imagine in front of your home crowd it's gotta be tough. So I didn't want to rub anything in or anything like that.
You know what the defense is to boos?
What's that?
If you change your nickname to the Ghost, now they're cheering you on. And they have no choice.
That's good.
Just for that one fight?
Just so next time I'm in somebody's hometown, just for that fight, I'm no longer the Irish Dragon. I'll just be the Ghost.
Yeah,
I like it.
That. All right. Stevie Ray was 5-1 going into that fight, and he, if he gets past you, I mean, he's ranked, and I mean, you actually stopped a lot of momentum off a fighter who, had a lot going. It was his hometown, like you said. So massive win for you. Seriously, I mean, that was a huge win for you. On foreign soil, and so now you're back and you've decompressed for a little bit. You've been doing some announcing, some traveling. You got some gigs coming up, but I wanted to ask you, just staying with building off this fight, what's next for Paul Felder? First of all, are you healthy, and can you take a fight booking? Or
I am healthy, and I've been talking to my manager, and we're looking to at least get a date or one of these cards, because the UFC's pretty much announced everything. There's a couple to be determined out there, but I would like to fight in the United States, and there's quite a few cards coming up. So these Japan cards and all that are a little soon. As cool as that would be, I'd go there as a guest fighter, but right now I wanna fight on my own country, this next one. I'd love a top 15 guy, but I'm not pushing that so much as I just want another exciting fight and another win. I'm nearing the end of this contract, so a good win puts me in good standing with the UFC to get another big contract coming out and keep going. But yes, I am ready to go. Maybe October, November, December at the latest. But I could go sooner. I just got to lose the weight. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of like, I'd like to know where they're at and what they're thinking,
like
so that I can.
December 2nd over there in Detroit, I think they have a pay-per-view. That's close to Philly.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And
there's also
end of the year is back here in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I also Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, all those. Yeah, Madison Square Garden for sure is one I'm looking at. I mean, that's really close to home. But even Detroit, anything that's just relatively close to Philly or Milwaukee, which is where I do my training camp, would be great. So. Any of those cards, I just don't want to, unless, and if they gave me like a co-main event, main event overseas, I'm all about it. I want to be kind of putting my name out there and taking these big spots. I'll take a main event. I'd love a 5-round fight with somebody. I don't care if it's literally in their kitchen. I'll take it. I want to fight 5 rounds for the UFC before I retire. So,
in regards to overseas, is there still a country where maybe a bucket list type of thing?
Unfortunately, Japan is one of them that I've always wanted to go to. It's just one of those countries that, growing up in the martial arts, that and, South Korea is another place I'd love to go. And whether I fight there or just visit there, it's places I want to go. But it's a shame that the Japan card is what, September 7th or something like that. Soon. Maybe a few weeks after that.
Let me look it up here.
I think it's after.
Yeah, it is, but there's no way I think I could be ready for that. But and Ireland, obviously, I'd love to go and fight in Ireland. I don't want to fight an Irish guy. Kind of like I always wanted to fight in Scotland. It is September, right? So it's a little soon.
That's more because of the weight, right?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you walk around at?
In 2 weeks, I'm already back up to probably 190 right now, if not a little more or a little less, depending on what I ate.
Maybe 192 by Fugu Burger tonight.
That means he hit the buffet before I picked him up over there.
Today, no, today I've been good. I had a protein bar and a coffee for breakfast today because I was like, you know what, I'm going to be on camera a couple times today. Let me not look too bloated, because last time I was here when I shot the Contender series for the first week, I had just fought. So the penny, Lucky Penny over in the Palms.
Yeah,
they have these donuts there, man. I housed
destroyed them.
About 4 of them. Yeah, it was delicious. Yeah, I put them down.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, I know. And they were like bananas Foster and s'mores donuts. They weren't like Krispy Kreme little glazed donuts. They were serious donuts.
Let me see. I want to catch up on a few things here. Philly and New York kind of have a rivalry within sports.
Yeah.
If you did do MSG, would it make sense for someone like Anaya Quinta or another New York-based fighter, and aside from donning the Reebok, you can still sport Philly and hope they come something with a Yankee or, you know what I mean? They've thought about that with Boston and New York before.
Yeah.
But I always wonder why not play up, what happens, what's happening within those cities that you fight in.
Yeah. That fight alone is a fight that I would love to have with Al. I think that's And you want to talk about, most of the time, anytime I'm matched up, people are like, oh, this is going to be fighting tonight. Could you imagine if me and him got matched up at Madison Square Garden? Yeah. Listen up, UFC.
You're in.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I kind of like that scenario.
Yeah.
But I like it surrounded by maybe an Ultimate Fighter gig where he coaches against, and you do a Philly versus New York.
Oh, yeah.
And just pull in all Philly. That's a lot of fighters, though, man.
It's a shame Eddie's doing it right now, right? I mean, me and Eddie coaching against some of the New York guys could be a lot of fun. And the funny thing is that Eddie, especially now, still, and I was training with a lot of those guys, which are, we bounce around between New York and like Brick, New Jersey with Nick Catone and those guys. So, and obviously Henzo's in New York. So it would be like a fun rivalry for especially for the Ultimate Fighter type of situation where we just be busting each other's balls the whole time. So it'd be fun. The Philly guys are tougher, so there'd be no doubt about that.
And then the other thing I was gonna say was, I looked at your resume, and I guess Japan is when you think of mixed martial arts, iconic arenas or cities.
Yeah.
I would say that at some point Brazil, you checked that one off.
Yep, boom.
Atlantic City and Vegas are big fight towns. Obviously, you're throwing your name in the hat for New York, Madison Square Garden. Then you'd kind of have the U.S. kind of, covered a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, something in Asia, I think, would really complete things for you.
Yeah, or Philly. It's been, when's the last time? I think they were actually playing it.
That's a damn shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're talking about UFC 101 was the last time?
Last time that they were in Philadelphia.
And 101, quick math here, had to be in 2009 because 100 was here at Mandalay Bay in July of 2009. Philly was the next month, so it was August of 2009. It was B.J. Penn versus Kenny Florian, Forrest Griffin versus Anderson Silva. And that's a fight town. Why haven't they gone back? Do you know?
It's crazy. And you know what? You would think that MMA in Philly, it's still catching up. Me and Eddie could probably walk down the street together, and most people probably wouldn't know who the hell we are in our own city. But then I go to Scotland, and I get recognized everywhere I go. Or I go to when I was in Belfast as a guest fighter for the fights that the UFC had over there, I couldn't in the stadium. I couldn't move an inch without somebody wanting to say what's up or take a picture. But in Philly, I'm just now starting. Yeah, so obviously I had a ton of fans over there, but I'm just now starting to get a little bit of love randomly in Philly. I was just out to eat the other day with my girlfriend, and they came over, and they're like, a bunch of the staff recognized you, and they gave us a free dessert.
Nice.
So thanks to Jerry's Bar in Philly for the free dessert.
Donuts?
It was a creme brulee.
Oh, shit.
And delicious.
When you fought, it was after Castillo, and then you and Barbosa had this war. And I believe around that time was when Reebok came on board.
Yeah.
And, of course, I'm going to tell you this, and who knows, we just met, so you have every right to go look at this guy. But I swear I said, man, you know what? I'm not too much into the Reebok kits. It was just new. If I was going to buy one, you can co-sign. What did I say?
I would buy Paul Felder.
I'd buy Paul Felder. Because everyone's going to rush out and get the Rouseys and the McGregors and this and that. I go, but that fucking guy, man. I mean, you and Barbosa, you guys were hitting each other so hard. And I said this on Saturday, too. I think it was when we were watching Ortega and Moicano. I said, they would have been better off starting the fight with baseball bats.
Yeah, man.
Because these limbs, you guys were throwing stuff at each other so hard that, I mean, it sounded like that. You know, the two guys that start with baseball bats, they're going to hit each other. At some point, the bat's going to fall, and then they'll just go at it. I'm not kidding, man.
Yeah.
I've seen some fights where these guys are so violent, and you go home, and I don't even know how you can walk your shins, your thighs.
Well, I can tell you I couldn't very well.
And here's the part where I'm an idiot. I never got the kit, but I said, if I'm going to get one, man, that's like the type of fighter that I like, you know, the Irish Dragon.
We'll have to get you a hoodie then.
But now he's jumping on the bandwagon. He could have actually driven it.
I would have been one of the drivers of the Paul Felder bandwagon. When you were just starting out and people were starting to. Now after the Stevie Ray, there's a bunch of people. I have to ask for permission, but
you're make some room.
You're the original.
But luckily there's video, so I can prove it. I have to go back if anybody's got a problem with that. All right, we're gonna take a break. This will be a quick one. When we come back, we'll be talking to Angela Hill, UFC strawweight. She is looking to fight soon. She's coming off a win over Ashley Yoder. It takes her to 7-3. And don't forget, man, she was an undefeated kickboxer as well. She's got like 16 fights under her belt, so she's been in combat sports for a while. This is Paul Felder. He's co-hosting with us. And tonight, the UFC Fight Pass presents Dana White's Contender Series 4. Paul Felder will be your caller commentator, so check that out. Goz and I will hopefully be in attendance. I still haven't heard back. Have you? In terms of the credential?
I'm going to Fuku Burger. I know that.
All right, well, we'll figure it out.
I should just show up.
When we come back, it's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
'Cause I'm chillin'.
King Kong has a lot of shit on them. Like a lot, especially Goes. Here, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tomorrow morning at 7 Eastern, the NFL Radio's annual training camp tour continues with the New York Giants. Join Bob Papa and David Deal for exclusive interviews with your favorite Giant players and coaches like Odell Beckham Jr. and Ben McAdoo. The only place to hear 24/7 coverage of the NFL is SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on your phone with the SiriusXM app. That same app houses the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Catch us commercial-free and in HD quality just minutes/hours after the show's ending. Danny uploads. Once the show's over, he uploads it within minutes. So however long it takes them to process it and make it available, it's there. This is Paul Felder, UFC lightweight, in studio with us. Before we get into food talk, because our first guest did not answer, what's your favorite NFL team? Is it just the Eagles?
The Eagles, yeah.
Okay. Just thought I'd check. I didn't want to hear, well, my first 2 years I lived in Seattle.
Nope. Philly through and through. It's definitely all Philly teams for me. I've always been one of those kids that's just, you know, I had a lot of friends that are Cowboys fans that grew up in Philly, and that drives me nuts. One of my teammates is a Cowboys fan. He's from Jersey, and we've had some bets and things like that over the years. When they play each other, it's always makes for a good bet.
Now, here's the next question. This is an important one. Can you even name the starting quarterback? Like, are you a really hardcore fan?
I'm not at all hardcore. I'll be the first, but I know it's off the top of my head, I can't. It's our new guy. We just got him a year or two ago.
Wentz or something?
Yeah.
Wentz? Okay.
So he's.
I just wanted to see your degree of fandom.
Not. I'll watch it. You know, when I.
Can you name a former player?
A former player?
Yeah.
I mean, Donovan McNabb.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
yeah.
You passed the test. If you didn't even know
Terrell
that,
Owens we had for a while. I mean, we have
don't show off.
Shady McCoy. Come on, man. I know some stuff. Getting into fist fights with cops in the streets. And stuff.
Oh, I love those stories. I love street fights. You want to get it out of the way?
Might as well.
Can you tell us a good street fight story?
Of me?
Yeah.
One of my favorites is I was in college at University of the Arts, and
Danny, call her back, please.
Doing my acting thing, and we were at a graduation party. It was the class ahead of me was graduating, and we were hanging out, and this one girl brought this just total D-bag. So he's like, oh, these guys are all actors, not knowing that I'd been doing martial arts since I was a little kid. So he just starts dropping the F-bomb, not fuck, but the other one about, actors.
Okay.
And just being an absolute D-bag.
Yeah, why would he do that?
Because he thought he was cool because he was some hockey player, did like some, weekend ice hockey, so he thought he knew how to fight. So anyway, he calls me a Bobby Flay wannabe because I was in the kitchen with one of my friends. We were making like microwave pizzas. He ends up going outside. I follow him out. Really long story short, he's staring at me. I was like, are you gonna do something about it? He's gonna look at me, and he comes running up, goes to throw a right hand, and it's kind of funny that I end up most of my knockouts with knees. Guy throws a punch, I block it, clinch him. And I smashed this dude's face in so bad with knees that his whole nose was like on this side of his face, to the point where I thought for sure I was getting locked up for that one. And the guy ate it, called that girl that brought him, and he was like, you know what, in hindsight, it was my fault. I was being an idiot. So guy learned his lesson. So if you're out there, I hope your nose is okay, D-bag.
And there's still some cop stories in your back pocket to tell?
No cops. I'm talking about when
I thought you said something about
McCoy got into it. Didn't he like punch an off-duty cop in a club? And I don't know where they were. I don't know if they were in Philly. I think they were in Philly.
That was a great story, Paul.
That guy's,
we love street fight stories.
His level of foodom is just really low, right? If all you have to do is make a microwave pizza and you're already Bobby Flay. And
I was like, really? Do you not know who Bobby Flay is then? Because he'd have sassed this pizza up a whole lot.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay, with your fancy food.
All right, we got to get to our guests. We got a hold of her. Her name's Angela Hill. She's a UFC strawweight. She goes by Angie Overkill on Twitter, so give her a follow because she's one of the more entertaining follows on Twitter, especially on Fight Night. She always makes Twitter reactions on MMA Junkie.
Yeah.
I don't really go on the other sites as much, but I know that on Junkie she is a lock because she's really, really funny and she's paying attention. And, of course, she can get down, too, in the octagon. She's coming off a win over Ashley Yoder, taking her record to 7-3 overall, and she's 5-1 in her last 6 fights. She joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's going on, Angela? Good to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, thank you for joining us again on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. We also have UFC lightweight Paul Felder co-hosting, so it's good to have you here.
Hey.
And what's up? Paul was going to have a problem, by the way, if you didn't call back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad you did.
Oh no! I had my phone on silent like a dork while I was making coffee. So
at least you were making coffee,
I
which
I was like, oh shit.
There you go. Is it just straight black coffee, or do you like the hint of cinnamon and a whisper of nutmeg? You know, like you get the fancy coffees, or is it just, you know, bare bottoms?
Well, I have one of those fancy coffee makers, so I can make myself a double espresso. But it's all like it's kind of manual. So like if I want to get fancier and make like a cappuccino, I have to steam my own milk, and you know I'm starting to get better at making little designs in it. So yeah, a little barista at home.
There you go. So Angela, speaking of your social media, I did use that to see that you want to fight, and you're willing to fight as soon as September. You already put UFC Rotterdam, Canada, Pittsburgh, Japan on notice. You're willing to take a fight as soon as, what, 4 weeks away?
Yeah, I mean, after my last fight, I wasn't hurt at all. Like, the girl just tried to hold me, and that's about it. So, like, I didn't really get any injuries, and so I hit up Shelby, and I was like, hey, if anyone gets, like, sinusitis or can't make weight in Glasgow, let me know. I'll fly out there. So yeah, I've been just trying to rally people to get excited about having me back in there sooner than later, because last time I was out for 6 months, and I just don't like that. Like I prefer to be active, especially if I didn't get any injuries in the fight or in camp especially. I just want to get right back in there, get as much done as I can in the shortest amount of time.
Any feedback yet? Anyone biting? Is the promotion saying anything? Excuse me?
No, these fucking girls, they don't talk shit at all. It's like pulling teeth trying to get anyone to respond to me on Twitter or social media or anything like that. So I'm just waiting patiently, hoping I get the call from my manager soon, like, oh, we have a name, or we have a few names, or something like that. So fingers crossed.
Well, okay, I'm looking at the USA Today Sports / MMAjunkie rankings. We know Claudia and Andrade are locked up. They already signed bout agreements, apparently. And Joanna is likely fighting Rose Namajunas next. At least that's what we're hearing. So, coming off a win like yourself, there's Carla Esparza and Tisha Torres. There's also Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who's coming off a loss, except she's ranked higher than you, so it may still be appealing. Now, aside from those three names, or any other names, why don't you give us your hit list of who you'd like to fight?
Well, JoJo's always been at the top of that list, just because I always felt like she got a lot of praise for her striking. And
JoJo is the young lady from Scotland?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And I always wanted to kind of show, like, hey, I'm a better striker than her. So that was kind of like my fantasy fight for a long time, and it just never happened. Like, I tried to fill in last minute when Beck got injured a few years ago, and that didn't happen. And I've just been bugging her and bugging Shelby for her for a long time. But I think she's probably going to move up to 25 after that last fight. So that's probably just never going to be in the cards for me, unfortunately. But there's a few girls. I think people kind of creeping up on the rankings. I think Courtney Casey is ranked at 14 or something. So that'd be pretty cool to fight her. I feel like that'd be a good matchup for me. But also, I'm open to anyone. I've been calling out Sin Cavillo just because she's been super active. Yeah. I'm not sure if she's gonna jump right back in there immediately, but that'd be a good fight for me too. So yeah, I don't know. I have a couple people in mind.
All right, Angela Hill, our guest here on MMAjunkie Radio. What do you have for Angela Hill?
Angela, you brought up your striking and how much that means to you to prove that you have one of the better skill sets there in your division. I went back and I looked at some of your kickboxing fights, and you did fairly well. I mean, you were undefeated. Do you ever miss doing kickboxing, and do you ever see yourself returning to it at any point?
Oh yeah, like kickboxing. I mean, it's not an easy sport, but it's definitely easier than MMA. You know, just for me because I came from kickboxing or Muay Thai. My coach would kill me if I was calling myself a kickboxer. But yeah, like it would be awesome if there was the opportunity to make the amount of money that you can in MMA, in Muay Thai, or in like kickboxing and K1, that type of thing. But especially for women, there's just not that opportunity out there. So yeah, I miss it. I totally miss it. I almost took a fight with Lion Fight before I got re-signed to the UFC, just to like stay busy and, you know, do something fun, because it's all competition and fight experience. Even if it's not the same type of fight, it's still experience. So yeah, like I definitely like to return to it at some point, but right now the goal is just MMA, like focused on getting better at that and being able to, you know, get my grappling and just my full MMA game going.
All right, Paul Felder's got a question for you as well, Angela. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Angela, you know, you talk about being able to jump in there in 3-4 weeks, September, whenever. For 115, how is that weight cut? Every time I see anything on social media or see you in person at UFC events, you're always super lean and seem to stay in really good shape. So, I mean, is that even much of a cut for you getting down to 115?
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's not an issue at all. Like, I've taken fights on like 4 day notices before, 4 days notice before. So yeah, the weight cut's not a problem with me. I actually have to eat to keep the weight on. Otherwise, like, during, like, you know, 3 weeks into camp, I'm like dipping under 120, which isn't good. Like, I want to try to like keep that muscle on, keep a little extra fat on the booty to keep it, like, you know, athletic and stuff. So yeah, the cut's not a problem for me. If anything, I try to keep the weight on when I have a longer camp. So when I get a short notice fight, I'm just like, oh, well, I'm kind of I'm kind of heavier now because I've been chilling, but it's good because I only have like 10 pounds to cut. So yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I know you got that practice starting up soon, but at least we have an idea of who you may want to fight next. So I like the Cynthia Calvillo mix matchup, if that works out for you or any of those other young ladies. It's been fun covering you because we remember watching you fight at Muay Thai, at Lion Fight here in Vegas, and then through the reality show, and now 7-3 in the UFC. That's really in MMA is very impressive. So thanks for your time as always, Angela.
Thank you.
Hopefully you get one of those fights.
Thanks again, and congratulations to Paul Felder after his last fight. That was awesome.
Thank you very much.
One of my striking crushes, striking fighter crushes. So yeah, that was good, fun to watch.
Good. Well, hopefully we'll be watching you throw some bows and knees to some girls' faces soon.
Yay! Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. We'll see you. All right, folks, we're going to take a break here. That was Angela Hill. Thanks to Brian Butler for setting that one up. This will be our last break of this first hour. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. Paul Felder in the house.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're still in commercial. We got about 2.5 minutes left, but I figured I'd get some of these questions or comments in. Chris Laugh, you're asking who Felder wants next. We covered that earlier, and we came up with Iaquinta at MSG would be nice. Maybe fighting on the Detroit card. That would be pretty cool as well. Did you have a backup name after any backup?
No, I mean that's just a dream fight. You know, whether that's he's up there in the rankings, so who knows what will happen with that. But anybody that's just exciting and you know, like I said, top 15. But if not, anybody that's going to stand and put on a good fight, that's going to let me shine a little bit. So anybody. I'm taking suggestions. You know, I want to know what the fans want. That's how we got the last fight with me.
Kenny McCarthy's co-signing. He's saying, hell yeah, and he puts up the shamrock and the Irish flag. Chris Laugh also says, Paul Felder is a bad mudda-fudda. Paul Campbell says, let's go. Hopefully you make November 4th card. That's the one in MSG.
Yeah, that would be perfect timing.
Paul Campbell says, protein bar and coffee. I think that's what you had for breakfast. He says, that's my breakfast 8 times. Must be a big kid. Ziggy David says, bring it back to where it all started, Thailand. Not sure it's all started in Thailand. I think Japan kind of has roots.
Have they thought about doing anything over there, though? I've never even heard talks about Thailand. That would be sick, too.
Yeah, it would be. You know, that's where Muay Thai started, for sure.
Yeah.
But if you want to really go back to martial arts, I think India and China and, you know, a lot of places take responsibility for that. So I don't know if there's really right or wrong answer. Felder versus Lee in Detroit. That would be a great fight.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, I even talked to Kevin Lee. He was just in Scotland as a guest fighter. But what's Lee ranked right now? Number 5, number 6.
Somewhere around
there.
So I mean, you know, as much as I'd love a fight with a guy like that, and I respect Lee, it's just you know, I appreciate the fans wanting that, but we got to be realistic in knowing rankings. I'm not even in the top 15 yet to be getting a shot with a guy like Lee would be. I'd take it.
Yeah,
but it'd be crazy.
Veronica Menard says, have a great show, guys. Veronica, we saw your performance at the Texas Rangers game. Congrats. That was awesome.
Hi, guys. Come back. Stand by.
All right.
To link into the MMA Junkie Radio Network, hit us up on Twitter.com at MMAjunkie Radio. This is MMA Junkie Radio. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
It's MLS All-Star Week, and SiriusXM FC is giving you exclusive access to all of the activities. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, the MLS All-Stars take to the pitch against Real Madrid in Chicago. Ongoing coverage is on SiriusXM FC 85 and on the SiriusXM app. This is UFC lightweight Paul Felder in the house. He's also a broadcaster for the UFC. Catch him tonight on the UFC Fight Pass. It's Dana White's Contender Series 4. This is a weekly series, and Paul is the color commentator every other week. So this is his second time here calling the fights. We got a main event of Phil Hawes and Julian Marquez. You want to touch on any of these quick fights? Or sorry, on any of these fights quickly, Paul, just so the fans know what to look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the, you know, the feature fight, the Hawes and Marquez. You got two guys that are absolute beasts at 185. Marquez has fought up at 205 most of his career, I think. So I think we're going to see if it's going to become a wrestling match of Hawes, or if these two guys are going to stand and trade. Like, I think they have the ability to. Both guys have explosive knockout power, are super athletic. So I'm really looking forward to the main event on the card tonight. But some of the jiu-jitsu that's going to be displayed tonight from some of these kids, I mean, all these guys are the new breed of martial arts. So really think everybody should tune in, and you're going to see what the next generation of all of these UFC and athletes are going to look like in the coming years. I mean, all these guys have got more accolades in jiu-jitsu than I have, and I've got almost 10 fights in the UFC. So it's exciting to kind of see these prospects coming up and how well-rounded they are at such a young age. Most of these guys are 22, 23 years old. Some of them are a little older, but definitely looking forward to that. This kid Arnett, he's got some knockout power. Obviously, the one Hawaiian kid that's on the card tonight from Max Holloway's camp, taking on Sexy Mexi in the first fight of the night. I mean, that's first fight of the night tonight. So I really think everybody should check out the Contender Series. If you want to see hungry young fighters trying to get a contract, man, it's to see it live is amazing.
8 p.m. Eastern on the UFC Fight Pass, 5 p.m. Pacific. I think Goes and I will be there. We're still waiting to hear back on the credential. We
got
got caught up in UFC 214 a little late, so we spaced it, you know. And I mean, it comes up every week, but it's been a blast, right? You literally walk in around 4:45. There's people on the bleachers. The commentating does their intro, then they disappear in the back. Probably hit up Snoop's blunt or something. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I wish I could go up in that room.
But then they disappear, and it's just straight fights. You get out of there in time to still make that Fuku burger that's supposed to leave the truck. It's supposed to leave at 7. So in 2 hours, you get 5 fights. And there's been some incredible the first 2 weeks were amazing. Great fights. I remember Boston Salmon getting a contract, and he didn't even get to finish. That's how exciting his fight was. And then that was followed up by some vicious KOs in his week. And then in Paul's first week was the Sean O'Malley. This is a young kid who looked like he should just be like part of a family of 4.
Yeah.
Father, mother, older brother, younger sister, carrying an inner tube to the pool. Yep. You know, and then that's the kid who you go, I'm gonna tease this kid or give him a hard time. The next thing you know, you're waking up. Yeah. He just looks like a regular skateboarder or something.
That's what my mom said. My mom watched the show, and she goes, when that kid walked out, she was like, what is he? She thought he was going to get killed. And
so did we.
You do the research.
Sacrificial lamb.
The kid is vicious.
Because the Armenian guy, here's a story. Here's a little backstory. I'm not sure if you saw this because they take you in the back room, and we'll ask you about that in a second. But I guess both corners were, they should have blue and red. But because it's a little bit, how do you call it, Goes? I guess there's a little bit of overlap.
Yeah, it's kind of cramped back there. Yeah.
It's not like there's an actual ticket. So somehow both parties were on one of the bleachers. So then the UFC staff moved them over, and here comes an Armenian fellow with 3 beautiful Armenian women, and then another Armenian guy who was more chill. But this guy was like, "Can we sit here?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, we'll make some room, And then he goes, "All right." He goes, "I'm letting you know right now." He goes, "I'm really loud. I'm really passionate, but this is the next guy, man. This guy's gonna win, and I guarantee you, I'm telling you right now." He goes, "It's gonna be a first-round knockout." He goes, "And I'm never wrong." And he goes, "You watch, man. This guy's the truth, All right, cool. We're happy for you, guy. Goes and I are credentialed media, so we can't cheer or anything. We're just sitting there going, do your thing. No big deal. Just as that's happening, here comes Edmund Tarvidian, longtime coach of Ronda Rousey. Yeah. So I'm watching. I go, okay, so he's part of the Glendale Fight Club, and good to see Edmund kind of with a younger person.
Yeah.
So let's see what you do with him. The Ronda train has kind of come to a halt, and Travis has moved on to I think he's training out of Extreme now. So let's see some of these the new blood, And the kid was in shape. What was his name? Alfred.
Yeah,
that's right. He was in shape, and he had that intense look. Armenians don't play around. And so I thought, okay, I was already invested. If somebody would have walked around Thailand style and said, we're taking bets.
Yep.
And if we weren't credentialed, I just would have said, just give me 100 on this dude, man. I'm sold. Right? And out comes the skateboarder. Mop on top of his head. And I'm just going, oh, my God, this is not going to be pretty. The Armenian was put together. The other kid wasn't. But he was with John Crouch. So you got to respect that. He's done some time. I'm sure John wouldn't just throw him into a fight if he wasn't ready. But man, it's so cool because it's so raw. These are people that you don't know. The fight starts, and the Armenian actually gets off to a really good start.
Doing well in the beginning, yeah.
And I'm going, this guy's really
aggressive as hell.
This fight is going to end in the first round. Man, those guys went back and forth, and then all of a sudden, I think it was a knee that changed it all.
Yeah, and there was a head kick, there was a knee, but then it was that, and then he had him hurt, and he hit him with that just boom. Yeah. Almost like a McGregor left hand, but with his right, and just kind of snapped his whole body into it. And the kid hit the fence and everything, and it was.
Now, Goz and I didn't have the balls to say anything. We just telepathically looked at ourselves and said, well, you were right. It did end in the first. Only problem is it was for the other guy.
Picked wrong.
And this side of the crowd's going nuts, and the Armenian guy is fucking pissed. I thought he was going to stab people, man.
Yeah.
He was pissed. He was mad. And the 3 girls were just. Their heart was broken. I'm telling you, that gym is so raw for emotions because it's like that's when I think we came up with what we said. It's like that Little League Pop Warner feel, where the parents are a little bit too much into it.
Yeah, too invested.
And who knows, but it's so different from like the arena we were just in Anaheim, but it was still a great night, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, because in an arena, those same people will be there, but you're not going to hear their remarks back.
Right.
They're right next to you.
You can hear the coaches.
Which is why we're not even out there. Normally, you'd be, as commentators, we'd be cage side calling the fights because you would hear every single thing we'd say in some of those fights. If you don't have a guy like that or a crowd like that, I mean, I'm sitting here talking this loud, and you can hear you can hear them shuffling on the canvas sometimes. Right. It's so small in there that the fighters would hear me being like, well, so-and-so should do this. Or if somebody's getting their ass beat and I start saying that, guy might, you can hear everything. So it would be I think it would be too distracting for the crowd even. If it was quiet, you could hear everything me and Brendan are saying. So that's why they put us in the booth, put Snoopcast up in the booth. This way we can be as loud and react without the fans or the actual fighters being able to hear us reacting to them.
Normally, I would ask someone, "Can you hear the Snoopcast room?" But my question is, can you smell the Snoopcast room?
I when we walked out to do our closing, shot and everything like that, yeah, I could.
So could we, man. Yeah. But it was funny. I mean, I've tuned into a few of the fights and hearing his version. And
I did half and half last week when I was watching Eve and them those guys do it. I would go back and forth between. I was like, I gotta hear some Snoopcast.
I applaud the UFC for trying it. We'll see if it stays or not. I'm a fan of it personally. I know others are saying no, but folks, you have to understand, man. This new generation consumes audio and video in ways in which older cats, we're trying to adjust and figure it out. And Snoop is popular, and his version of calling fights is what a lot of younger kids like. So the UFC is just giving you the option. If you don't like it, flick the other button, go to the other side.
Listen to me. Yeah.
So, I mean, you got a current fighter and a former fighter calling the fights. And tell me, has that experience been, have you loved it so far?
Yeah, I do love it, and I think, me and Fitzgerald, who do the show together, we're just getting our rhythm last week, so I'm excited to do it tonight. We're going to go get something to eat and talk over everything before we go over to the arena later on tonight. And by week 4, I think we'll have it down, and hopefully we'll see what Dana White and UFC want to do with this show. If they want to bring back another season, keep it going, whatever's going to happen with it. We're all kind of
It's been a home run in my book.
We're all kind of just riding the wave right now and seeing what's going to happen. But I got to say, it's exciting for me, and I get to do a ton of fight research on these kids, and I get to learn who these up-and-coming guys are and guys who've been in before. And I've got friends of mine who've been in the UFC trying to get their way back, or up-and-comers that I know personally from gyms back home where I'm like, you need to get on this show. This is the exposure that you need. Like Jonathan Webb, who's got a fight coming up this weekend, my teammate Sean Brady from Philly, who's a CFFC champion. He's a guy that I think would be really good on the show and could kick some ass. So I'm pushing it to my friends too, who are really good fighters that need just a little bit of exposure.
How'd you get the gig?
I had to audition. I had made it clear a while ago to the UFC that I would love any chance to do any kind of analyst work or on-camera work or anything like that, and they finally gave me the shot. I had to fly out to LA, and we called the Singapore fights. That was my audition, so I got to watch all those fights, and we recorded it. We did a stand-up in front of a green screen and just got to see how we were with doing all the stuff.
So you channeled your acting days a little bit?
I brought my acting back in, and I was exhausted because the Singapore fights were however many hours ahead, and we filmed it live as it was going on. So, man, I was so tired, and then I flew right back.
2 a.m. type
Oh,
thing?
man, it was even later than that. I think I filmed till 7 in the morning.
Wow.
in the middle of camp, too. So I left on a Friday night and was back on Monday for training at Duke's on Monday morning for sparring.
Yeah, man, your body's not liking you.
No,
this first time you called fights was like, let me see, you fought on a Sunday in Scotland.
Called them on a
Tuesday, and you lost 8 hours.
Yeah, so I
gain it going that way, but you lose it going.
I woke up Monday morning. Luckily, I'd already packed all my stuff because I knew I had to go and do this thing. And got some breakfast with the team before we left. Got on a 10-hour flight from Glasgow straight direct to Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a flight from
Glasgow? There was a flight. I forget the airline. It was a Scottish airline, and it's like they're, I don't know, like
for the summer.
Yeah, for them, like and it was straight. So everybody's drinking and partying.
And I'm like, we stopped in London and Maine and Albuquerque and.
Thank God, it sucked, but it was an easy, no turbulence, straight 10-hour flight, and I was pretty much passed out most of the time, except for my little airplane meals that they gave me, which I consumed.
I like those.
Are you
a lot of people don't. I like them.
I eat them.
Aisle, middle, or
I am an aisle guy.
Yeah.
But they gave me a window seat, and then I had a guy next to me, so there was no room to play in there. That flight was completely sold out. But I'll pay extra money to get an aisle seat because as a fighter, we're always drinking so much damn water and coffee, and if I don't have a fight, I might have had a beer in the airport or something like that. So I'm peeing like crazy all the time. So I'm an aisle
What's
guy.
your beer of choice?
Right now, Bell's Two Hearted is one of my favorite beers. It's like a hoppy ale, and in the wintertime, I like this beer from Trogs. It's called Mad Elf. It's like a Christmas beer. It's like 11.5% alcohol. It's like a Belgian cherry and chocolate notes, and it'll put you on your ass in 2 beers, man.
Now we know why the elf's mad.
Yeah. Oh, the cover of it's hilarious. The dude's all hammered, holding a beer.
That's hilarious.
Anything Belgian-y. Anything Belgian. I love strong Belgian doubles and
Yeah.
triples, quadruples, you name it.
I like Belgian waffles.
I like them too. We should get Belgian waffles and a couple Belgian beers, and we'll have a good time here in Vegas.
We might need a Belgian Mano to protect us.
Maybe we'll let them know at the military bases. Hey, kind of have some waffles ready.
They
for
have
us.
some waffles,
and some beers. Yeah, they do. They have a welcoming package.
Oh, there we
for
go.
us, so
we like waffles. You guys ever have those street waffles that they make over there with the caramel in the middle of the 2 little waffles?
Yeah.
Stroop waffles or something they're called. Me and my girlfriend, we just bought a whole box of them for me. I must have been eating about 15 a day. So,
speaking of food, let's circle back to Gordon Ramsay, and you guys wanted to talk about that a little bit. We were chatting during the commercial.
He was saying, I asked him if he likes Beat Bobby Flay, and he said he loved that show. And
love it,
dude. That guy's amazing, isn't he?
He is.
Do you know how that show works, George?
No, I just watched the Gordon Ramsay show.
You gotta start watching the show too.
Right.
Gordon Ramsay's a shit too, but okay.
But this show,
he got a loud pop in Anaheim, dude.
They bring 2 chefs, okay, and they battle each other for the right to face Bobby Flay.
Right.
So when that guy
and so Bobby Flay is a chef, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
So what happens is Bobby Flay tells that guy, "What's your best dish?" And that guy says, "Lasagna, whatever." Right? He has to make that against him, and whoever's better wins, right?
Who judges? 3 independent judges?
Yeah, they don't know whose dish is whose.
Yeah.
And then I'd say 95% of the time Bobby Flay wins.
He wins. And like I was just gonna say, like 2 days ago I watched one where some guy, it was a Vietnamese guy, and he goes, "I'm making pho papa, whatever the hell it was," right?
Yeah.
And Bobby didn't even know what it was. He was like, "What is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it has this, this, and that."
And he beat him, didn't he?
Beat him.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
Now, you sure maybe there's
your
not
whole life?
Maybe when they bring the plates out, the judges already know the one on the left, Bobby.
No, they don't know.
No.
Unless they are, but yeah, I don't think they are. And I think he's just. I mean,
so he just has to hear the ingredients and he puts a little personal touch.
What are the rules of MMA? All right, let's go, Paul.
Yeah,
I knock him on his ass.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense. The kid's been making that his entire life.
Like what McGregor's doing. So what do you guys do? Box? Who's the greatest? I'll box him.
And he just smashes people, George.
It's pretty cool, man. It's one of my favorite shows.
All right, when's it on? What's the network? What's the deal?
Food Network. I don't know what nights it's live, but yeah, they play reruns constantly. It's either that or Chopped.
And it's called Bobby Flay.
Beat Bobby Flay.
Beat Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay hangs out here for every Super Bowl.
Does he?
Yeah.
I would love to meet him and just tell him that.
Here at the Mandalay Bay?
Yeah.
How come you've never introduced or said come
I've
inside?
I've only seen him one time when he's gone up. And
I know Charles Barkley's here a lot.
Barkley's here a lot. But yeah, he puts a lot of coin on Super Bowl.
Yeah. No surprise there. Wow. All right, I'll have to check it out then, because like I say, I got turned on to Ramsay's, and he'll come in and save your restaurant and scold you a bit, but
he's the man too.
Like
yeah, no doubt.
A win-win for everybody. And when we were in Anaheim, they showed 3 actors from the Game of Thrones, 3 young guys, and they all went, and there was like a.
Then they showed Ramsay.
They showed Gordon Ramsay was like, and of course The Rock came, and he was louder than Ramsay, but not much. And I thought, okay. You can tell when your superstardom just transcends. Like the Game of Thrones obviously kills it. It's a ratings monster. But I still think it's a ratings monster with just a younger niche crowd.
But the other thing
Whereas
is,
Ramsay, I think, is just
superstar
on continents.
I don't think they stand by themselves as much as like a guy like Gordon Ramsay. He is his own entity, whereas the actors from Game of Thrones are part of an ensemble cast.
Ferguson got pretty good pop.
Yeah.
Ferguson was sitting there with the glasses. He got a good one. And then Paige was next to Rockhold, right?
I saw Cub Swanson.
Oh, next to Cub.
Swanson.
Yeah. So that was tough to say. Was that Paige pop or Cub pop? Because Cub's been in some wars, entertaining as fuck, and then Paige is obviously beautiful young lady dancing with the stars. So I'm always gauging that and seeing what's what.
Also on Chopped. She's a Chop champion.
Oh yeah, she went on there.
It's another Food Network show.
Food show.
They brought on some athletes, and she won.
I'll defend the Game of Thrones guys a little bit, just because they look completely different on screen.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, man, they're fucking Viking wearing. You know, they got all that stuff, and so when people see them, you know, they got regular hair now. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that's that guy.
Ah, okay, that's it. Wow, you guys are really spending a lot of time on the Food Network. Why do I have the biggest belly of the group?
Dude, it's awesome.
Really?
Because I just fought. Give me 2 more weeks, and I'll be looking like a middleweight.
All right, folks. We got to take another break and a sports update. When we come back, we'll be talking to Colby Covington and Ricardo Lamas. There'll be some spaces in between to keep catching up on the latest news. I definitely want to get Paul's thoughts on Jones versus Cormier. Great fight that took place this past weekend in Anaheim, UFC 214. Also, Tyron Woodley and Damian Maia. People are still chirping. Maybe even chirping about that more than anything.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the fight. And then, of course, McGregor and Mayweather. It's going to come back. We kind of went through a wave throughout this press tour. It went away, but it's going to start to come back because it's going to take place here in Las Vegas. And, of course, every casual fan I know has been asking me my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. All right, folks. Stay close. We'll be right back. And you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93 with Paul Felder in the house.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna have me some fun.
That's pretty funny.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie radio show. Speaking of tequila, the fighters are out in Mexico City on Saturday for UFC Fight Night 114, headlined by Sergio Pettis and Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno comes in as the favorite in that main event. He's at -165. Sergio Pettis comes back at +135. A guy that was on the reality show.
Speaking of tequila, that's how you transition to Mexico. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, might as well, right?
I like it.
I thought the fights were in 2 weeks. Or, sorry, not this week, but the next one. So, yeah, I guess in 2 weeks. And I looked, and I go, wait, August 5th. Cool, it's this week. But then after that, we really have this lull until early September when they go to Rotterdam, followed by the UFC pay-per-view in Edmonton. So this is your last time to get a fix. Sandwiched in between, of course, is the boxing match with McGregor and Mayweather. So I'm sure we'll get our fill there.
That old thing?
Yeah. Grasso and Marcos, your co-main event. Alexa Grasso -145. Randa Marcos +115. Good old Rashad Evans down there. Still on the main card, but no longer co-headlining or headlining. He's an underdog to Smiling Sam Alvey.
Wow.
Sam Alvey's -160. Rashad Evans +130. All right. Speaking of McGregor and Mayweather, I looked up and I couldn't believe it. So last week, I've been kind of giving you guys a weekly update. These odds opened at Floyd Mayweather at -1200. He went down to 700, 675, 650, 600, and then after that means McGregor money's coming in, by the way. And then he shot back up to 700, which means someone came in and said, all right, give me some Mayweather on
which they were
that
probably
fight.
waiting for, right?
Right, they're waiting for the line to drop. But a new wave of McGregor money's come in, and now these get printed probably some of them every couple weeks, some every week, some are daily, like the baseball stuff. But that's the most current line you can have, the one that's up there. Mayweather's down to -575, as low as I've seen it. McGregor's +400. So, yet again, more money coming through. Now, we were in Cali last week, and I kept seeing this headline float, and I just didn't click the story. I was a lazy bastard. And it said something about a $150,000 bet on McGregor. Did you see that? Did you read that? Did you open it?
No, I didn't open it.
Me neither. I wanted to see what all that was about. But if that maniac and others are doing the same, that's the reason why this thing keeps dropping. Anyway, as we try and round up Colby Covington, I do want to get your thoughts, Paul Felder, on Mayweather and McGregor. What do you think of this whole thing?
Man, well, I mean, first of all, I'll be watching like anybody else, and I've been following, you know, Connor and all his social media. Did anybody see recently his posts? He was like ground and pounding his opponent in photos, but he was wearing his boxing sparring gear. Did anybody see that? Was that him getting like messing with Floyd a little bit? So, yeah. that cracked me up a little bit that he did that. But I'm excited, and I do think that Connor has a small chance. I do think it's a small chance of catching him. I do think it'll be early if he does, and I think it's going to be a Mayweather decision, probably most likely.
But you will buy it.
Oh yeah, I might go somewhere, but I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to watch that on my little TV for $100.
All right, and then what about Jones and Cormier? What'd you think of that fight this past Saturday?
It was crazy, man. I thought Cormier was doing a good job. He was trying to pressure him, but Jones is just one of those guys, man. And I've seen him train a lot in New Mexico when I was out there. He's just a freak. He's a freak, and he's just a talented guy. And it looked like he worked hard for this fight again, and back getting his head right and staying clean, staying disciplined, and he's the best. I think he's the best. And it just sucks for a guy like Cormier because I really like him, and I do think he's got probably one of the hardest work ethics in the game, and mentally probably one of the strongest guys in the game. And it just happens that the guy at the top of your division is seems unbeatable.
What do you think of? Sorry, Goose. Go ahead.
I would say the best as in the GOAT.
Yeah, I think he might be. We'll see though. Let's not put that on him yet. He just came back after years layoff and a lot of personal problems. I think he's got to do that a couple more times. But if he does that easy to a guy that's been killing it like Cormier, I mean, who's next? Who's next for John?
I would say Gustafsson, man. He's won his last 2, and I know Jones always wanted to prove to people that he could really
that fight should not have been as close as it was. Yeah, and I do think that
might as well capitalize on that now.
I do think that a stronger John and a guy like John is maybe mentally right now. I don't think the fight's as close as it was the first time around.
Yeah,
I do think he finished.
Looked pretty good. He waxed Teixeira. Yeah. So I would say pounce on that. Let Ozdemir get one more fight, and then he would probably be next. It's a very shallow division, so
yeah, and
you can get there pretty quick. And I would tell them put Ozdemir on the same card.
What about Cormier? What
he'll go to heavy, man.
Yeah, you think so?
Those weight cuts.
They were killing him.
They were.
There's unfinished business with Manawa, and Manawa lost as well. So
yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
What we were saying was, see if him and Manawa can agree on 215.
Yeah.
If Manawa wins, it helps his 205 stock because he's a 205er. Yeah. But I think DC's really headed to heavyweight. I've heard that from someone in his camp, and I think it's a good decision because those weight cuts just kill him. And Jones is champ. There's not really going to be a third fight. Plus, they just squashed it. A lot of class and respect towards each other.
I think those two dudes are going to end up being. It's like Ali and Frazier and all those. You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to end up being one of these things. When they're two old men, they're going to be sitting around busting each other's balls and making fun of each other, but have that mutual respect. I mean, when you battle like that against each other and have that kind of rivalry, I think when it's all said and done, you just can't help but be a little bit, friendly with each other.
Danny and Goes, do we have an update on our guest?
He's actually writing back right now, so I'm trying to figure out what's.
All right, I'll keep going here with Paul. Woodley versus Maya. What do you think of that fight?
Okay, now
remember, you're kind of a member of the media, so I want you to tell it like a media member, but also as a fellow fighter.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'll start with as a teammate and somebody that's very friendly and knows Tyron well and has trained with him. He did exactly what you have to do when you fight a guy like Damian Maia. That guy will get your back, and he will choke you out, and he'll put you to sleep. You've got to keep your distance. You've got to try to just stay away. And his takedown defense and wrestling, and it's exactly what I said when I got asked the question in Scotland, how do you think the fight's going to go? That's exactly what I said. I said he's going to D him up, he's going to land some hands, and he's going to win the fight. Was it the most exciting thing to watch? It's not always going to be that way, unfortunately.
Right.
But I watched, and I was screaming at the TV for Woodley. So he did what he had to do, and I just think that the UFC needs to match Tyron up with a guy that's a little more forward and explosive. He's had the last 2 fights. He had Wonder Boy, who now respected his power because of the first matchup, and vice versa. So you got 2 guys that are like, okay, they want to win, but they don't want to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Then you get a guy like Maia who's going to try to strangle you to death. So he had to be a little bit standoffish and keep his distance. I'm excited to see who he gets next, and give him somebody that's going to try to brawl with him, and I think you might see another KO.
Mm-hmm. I got a question for you. Why do you think fighters are as sensitive, though, to the criticism from fans and media? And I know you can't answer for Tyron, but maybe it's collectively what you've shared with other fighters when you do talk about this topic.
Yeah.
Because this is something that's it's hurt Tyron. The UFC president came at him, the fans, the media, this, that, whatever. I was in the arena, and like you said it. Was it the most exciting? No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, and it's my opinion. It's the opinion of many. But he did get the win. So that should be satisfaction enough. But I think not just Tyron, but other fighters need to concede. Yeah, it wasn't my best win. And
no,
in all sports, if you look,
football players get the
40
same thing.
points every game.
No.
He may have gotten something else, but if he got the win, he was happy. The problem with you guys is you guys have to wait 3 to 6 months to show us again.
Right, we don't have next week. We don't have next game. Yeah. So it's like, I agree. So I think that is why we're a little bit like, hey, I still won that fight. Why are people getting on my? And I think over time that'll go away a little bit, as the sport is we're still all learning. This is still all really relatively new, and there hasn't been MMA fighters around for so long. Boxers, I think, are more used to it. They're just like, yeah, screw you, whatever. I got the win. You don't see Floyd going around and bashing everybody when he got some of these close point matches that he gets.
Right.
So I think as fighters get used to the media, now that the media is getting as big as it is for the sport and people are tuning in and chiming in and social media is as big as it is, that's the thing that I think pisses us off more than anything. I don't think it's analysts and people whose job it is to kind of say, hey, this is what I think about this fight. If you guys go on air and you say, hey, I think that fight was boring. Okay, this is what you guys do. You look at fights, you talk about fighting, you know about fighting. It's when Joe Blow in their basement inboxes me and calls me a scumbag and this and that, and I lost money, and I think that's what pisses us off more than anything. It's not when the actual media get on our ass. It's when Johnny eating meatloaf in his mom's basement gets on us that really pisses fighters off. For me.
Yeah.
Maybe not for Woodley, who kind of went at, everybody, but, he got a W, so he's pissed off.
Social media is crazy because there's no division.
Anybody.
Everybody's all in that one spot.
Anybody can say anything at any time. A guy with the egg, icon and no followers can go and call my mom an asshole. You know what I mean? So it's like
the egg icon means I just got here, but I got something to say.
But I still got an opinion. And I'm going to tell you personally, right to you.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Is it tough to resist? Like,
you
have to find yourself in the
really
moment
hard, man.
Hey, I'm going to catch up with my fans, and through there, of course, there are going to be some assholes.
Yeah, I've had to have family members or my girlfriend or somebody be like, "Don't do it." Like I just got into an argument on this guy who I followed a while back. I was being nice. He asked me to follow him, and then he was like, "He wanted to get some merchandise stuff from me," and I was like, "No, I'm not really into that." And then he went at me on my inbox because he saw in Glasgow I gave somebody a signed shirt. Well, that person was in the moment there live in front of me, and he got mad because they were trying to sell it or something. I'm like, once I give it to you, I don't care. But don't come at me because I didn't put something in a box, seal it, and send it to you because you followed me. It's like I don't owe you that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm glad you're my fan. I love my fans, and if you're there in person and I can help you out or give you a picture or sign something for you, cool. You send me something with the stuff to send it back, okay. But I blocked him the other day, so if you're listening too, you're staying blocked.
Update?
Looks like he's ready to go. Danny's calling him right now.
All right.
So yeah, that's
How is it easier to get him in Singapore than it is in the United States?
That's right. Wasn't it like 3 a.m. when we called him?
Yeah, it was barely awake.
All right, let me refresh my VX because I don't see anything there. But Danny, do we have him yet?
Not there yet.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Just found out.
All right, cool. So a couple quick reminders tonight. Dana White's Contender Series 4 starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Check it out on the UFC Fight Pass. Your color commentator tonight will be Paul Felder. Paul, I apologize, but what's the play-by-play analyst's name?
Fitzgerald, Brendan Fitzgerald.
Okay, he's calling the fights with you.
Yep,
and
very cool dude.
Cast is available as well as another option. 5 fights. They're in and they're out.
It's quick, man. It's a quick sit down and watch.
Night on
it's
Tuesday.
Fun. Grab something to eat. Pull your computer out or however you watch Fight Pass.
Fights have not sucked.
No, they have not.
There's been some good stuff.
Even the ones that have of that night were the quote not the greatest fight of all are still exciting fights. It's just that's what sucks for these guys,
man.
Man.
Have you been back there when they're all waiting on the thumbs up or the thumbs down from Caesar Augustus?
No,
Dana White?
Yeah, we're in our booth watching it. The cameras are filming it all for us, but I haven't actually been personally in that room. I'd love to kind of feel that
because winning is not automatic. You got to win, and then you got to get the word from the
That's
boss.
what I was saying to everybody, that this is the only time where an athlete is like the last thing on their mind is even winning. They're like, well, of course I'm going to win. That's what I'm here to do. I want a contract. So it's how awesome can I win?
Right. All right. So we are now going to talk to our next guest. His name is Colby Covington, UFC welterweight. Colby came off his last win was a fight versus Dong Hyun Kim in Singapore, and now we're trying to see where his next fight booking may be. He joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's up, Colby? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, MMA Junkie? I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. You're on with George and Goes. We also have UFC lightweight Paul Felder here co-hosting with us. Colby, how is it that when we called you in Singapore at 3 a.m. on Fight Week, that was easier to connect with you than today, where you're stateside in America?
Let's just say I'm a night owl.
All right. Gotcha. I just had to bust your balls. But no, we're really, really happy to have you. Thanks for joining us here. So, Colby, when are you fighting again? I mean, let me just jump right to it.
Man, the better question is, when's the dude going to sign a contract to fight me again?
No, so there's been some offers, and people are declining you?
Yeah, pretty much anybody and everybody in the top 10 doesn't want to fight with me. They know I'm the new chosen champ, so, I'm the uncrowned king of this division, and they know I'm the toughest fight right now in the welterweight division, so it's tough for these guys to man up.
Give us some names. Who's declined against you? Can you share, please?
Yeah, Rafael Dos Anjos scared, Neil Magny scared, all these guys in the top 10, Robbie Lawler doesn't want this. He knows what's up. Tyron Woodley, obviously, he's champ right now, and I have to earn my shot at him, but he knows what's coming. He knows I'm number 8 right now, but it's only a matter of time until I'm going to be number 1.
And Lawler is a former teammate of yours, so were you guys cool when he was down at American Top Team, or was there always like a separation?
Yeah, we were cool, we trained together a couple of times, but, I knew it was kind of destiny that eventually our paths were going to cross.
Mm-hmm. Why is it that you and Masvidal clicked, but you and Lawler, for example, didn't click? And there's a little tension, I guess.
As soon as I got to ATT, George he took me in like a brother, and, we've been through a lot more. We've been through some times together, and, it's nothing personal against Robbie. I just want what's mine.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying Dos Anjos and Magny turned you down. If I'm not mistaken, they're fighting each other, right? So they declined you to fight each other. It's not like they weren't ready to go. They were ready to go. They just didn't want to fight you.
Yeah. Huh. Pretty much they wanted nothing to do with me, so they decided to take the easier fight, and that was with each other.
What's more interesting for you, fighting a fighter who's coming off a win like yourself, or fighting a fighter that's ahead of you in the rankings?
Can you repeat that question again?
What's more appealing to you, fighting a fighter that's coming off a win like yourself, or because that's what the UFC does oftentimes. 90% of the time they'll match fighters coming off a win versus fighters coming off a win, and then 2 fighters coming off a loss versus against each other. So is that more appealing, or just fighting someone that's ranked ahead of you, despite of whether they've won or lost the previous fight?
Obviously it's fighting someone that's ranked above me, so I can get closer to the title. It should be mine.
Okay. So I go off USA Today Sports and MMAjunkie rankings. I'm not a big fan of the UFC rankings. I think they make mistakes. And plus, we cover the whole sport. So I have to rule out, Askren and Lima and some of the other fighters that fight for their organizations. But Cerrone's ahead of you in our rankings. And Damian Maia, they're both coming off losses, but I guess fights like that would interest you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those fights interest me, but Damian Maia, he's a little bit more interesting. He's the #1 contender, and they say he's got good grappling, but, I haven't really seen that in his fights. He barely throws any punches, so...
All right. We got UFC lightweight Paul Felder with us as well. He's got a question for you. What do you got, Paul?
Colby, I was just going to say that I think that fight is most interesting to me, you and Maia. Do you think that you can do, with your wrestling and your abilities, do you think you can make it more of an exciting fight than, say, than Woodley just had this past weekend with the fights? Do you think you can make it more of a barn burner and make it more exciting and get the finish as opposed to kind of just staying away from Maia? Are you more interested in embracing that grind and grappling with him and showing your skills?
I'm interested in showing my evolution as a fighter. You haven't seen the best of me. My last fight, it wasn't my best performance, but I'm only getting better. I feel like I'm the most well-rounded welterweight in the division. I feel like my wrestling is above everybody else's, and my striking is getting better every day. I'm at the best camp, American Top Team in the world, and I think if I fought a guy like Maia, I'm going to come and bring a fight to him. I'm not going to go out there and try and wrestle and get in a grappling exchange with him because no one wants to see that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to look for blood against him. So I absolutely think that I can demolish him and destroy him a lot worse than Tyron Woodley did, and I plan on doing that and showing that I'm ready for a title shot.
Colby Covington, our guest here on MMAjunkie Radio, UFC welterweight, coming off a win 6 weeks ago over Dong Hyun Kim in Singapore. 12-1 record overall in the UFC, 7-1. All right, goes. What do you have for Colby?
Colby, when you talk to the matchmakers or the brass, what do they tell you in regards to where you are in the title picture?
Hey, question for you guys about ranks. You guys are smart guys, right? You don't believe everything you read, right?
Not really.
No, I'm aware that the Earth is not flat.
But do you believe everything you see?
No.
I believe everything I see with my eyes.
You know, man, there's some magicians here fucking downtown Vegas that mesmerize my ass. But yeah, for the most part.
Okay. That's well, what have you guys seen out of me? What do you guys see in me?
I see a guy that a lot of fighters probably don't want to fight because they know it's a tough fight and they can't get much out of it because you're lower in the rankings. So I think they're afraid to take that fight. That's what I see.
I see a guy that has a motor and tends to break the opponent before the opponent breaks them.
You know what I see?
What's that?
I see a champion.
There you go.
That was going to be my second guess.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you know, that's absolutely got to be your mindset, dude. And I got to call your last fight for my audition for the Contender Series when you fought Kim, man, and I had nothing but, you know, a high praise to say when you were coming into that fight. I knew you were going to be able to grind him out and take him down, and I think your evolution, like you talked about with your striking, is showing, man. I was impressed with how you threw down and let your punches go, and I think we're only going to see more of that coming out of you as you get more and more comfortable with your striking. It's showing big time. So I hope you get one of these big fights. I do think you're plugging away, and you're obviously been very vocal and on social media. So I'm excited to see what happens next for you, bud.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that, man. You know that rankings are for losers.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I'm not ranked either right now.
Oh, man, that sucks. That's my job. I'm like one of the guys that puts it together for USA Today Sports and MMAjunkie, and I'm proud of it, man. I put hours into it every week, submit it to the editorial. They slap me around a couple times, and then, boom, it's up on the site. But, all right. And plus, I think now's a good time to make our announcement regarding Paul and Colby, yeah?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
We did Paul in the morning.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, but let's do Colby.
All right, folks. So thank you again to Joint Base Langley Eustis. They have invited us to come out September 6th through the 9th to visit the airmen and the soldiers from both of those bases, Fort Eustis and Langley Air Base. And coming with us will be Colby Covington, Paul Felder, and Misha Tate, along with Stitch Duran. So we're definitely looking forward to that, to meeting all the airmen and all the soldiers. And they've been so great to us in the past. And, of course, we will be there to host a UFC viewing party, UFC pay-per-view viewing party, but UFC 215 headlined by Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg, and in the co-main event slot, Amanda Nunes running it back with Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, I know the fight didn't happen in July, but you all know that they fought before, so they are technically running it back with Nunes as the champ, Shevchenko as the challenger, and Junior Dos Santos versus Francis Ngannou. That's going to be a barn burner as well. So, Colby, thank you for accepting the invite to join us. Same with you as well, Paul, and we look forward to hanging with you guys in about a month out there with all the airmen and soldiers of JBLE.
And giving them some base karma, right? Because the guys that have gone, guys and gals that have gone on these trips, they've been knocked.
The last trip had Kevin Lee. He won against Michael Chiesa. Felice Herrig defeated Justine Kish, and Brad Tavares took out Elias Theodoru. Valentina Shevchenko, when she went with us before, she took out Juliana Pena. Lorenz Larkin's the only one that came up a little bit short. He lost to Douglas Lima in a world title bout, but there has been some good juju coming out of these trips. So
I like it.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Colby.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity. It's very humbling.
Colby, let's close with this, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. You know that Tyron did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he mentioned he wants an apology from Dana White. If not, he's going to leak stuff. You had something to say about that as well. I personally, I'm old school. I'm not too into that, you know. So I'm really hoping either the apology comes or this goes away. What can you tell us about that? Is that something that, you know, is just for show? Do you regret posting that? Because I always thought that you fighters kind of had this camaraderie of what happens in the gym stays in the gym. But anyway, I have to ask because that is something big that came out of the last 24 hours. And I would tell Tyron the same thing, man, don't leak shit. I don't think we all need to go there. We just had a conversation with Paul, except that the fight wasn't the most exciting. respect the fans back. Those fans have an opinion. They paid to watch you fight at home or on the road. The media, you have to respect their opinion. We've watched thousands of fights, and we know what gets our tails wagging and what doesn't. That just wasn't one that was. Now, I respect that he had a game plan. He did what he needed to do, and he's still wearing the belt. And wearing the belt's way more lucrative than not wearing the belt. We all know that. But at the same time, if somebody taps me on the shoulder and goes, "What was that fight like?" I would say it wasn't the most exciting fight. So anyway, just your thoughts on the last 24 hours and what you put out there in the internet.
What are you guys talking about? I have something that nobody has seen.
Okay.
You guys want to know?
Sure, I guess. Do you want to reveal?
I have footage of Woodley actually throwing a strike.
Oh man. Oh boy.
Shots fired.
All right, my man.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And he's also calling out Damian Maya. Says, "Don't retire now that you may have seen me. You might have to see me across the octagon." Has Maya replied to you, by the way?
I think he knows better. I think he knows that's not a matchup he wants, but hopefully he replies to me one of these days.
All right, brother. We'll keep it short for today. Thank you very much for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio, and we look forward to seeing you in about a month.
All right, thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you on that base.
All right, take care. See you. All right, folks, we are going to take a break. Shout out to Goes for setting up the Colby Covington interview. And again, shout out to Brian Butler for lining up Paul Felder as a co-host for today, as well as the Angela Hill interview. And, Butler, he's one of my favorite managers out there. I do want to throw this stat out. Regarding the Contender Series, do you know that he's already put in 3 UFC contracts because of this? Wow. So this is going to be a topic for when we come back. I know we're going to talk to Ricardo Lamas, but at the same time, MMA is changing right before our eyes. So
Cormier has give me a fight.
Cormier has more fights, or a few more fights. But a lot of those heavyweights that are in the 38s and 39s and 40s, and a lot of these other fighters that have a lot of wear and tear. You just don't know much longer they're going to fight. There's a new wave of fighters coming, and there's going to also be a new wave of managers. It's something I discovered. I met some new ones in Anaheim, here in Vegas, and there's just a lot of new faces. But shout out to Brian, man. He's got 3 new contracts in the UFC in those first 3 weeks. He's got one going tonight and 3 more next Tuesday. So the Sucker Punch team, very active. All right, folks. Again, it's a break time, and when we come back, Ricardo Lamas will join us to talk about his win over Jason Knight at UFC 214. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Paul Felder in the house.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, 7 Eastern. Fucking it all over. NFL Radio's annual training camp tour continues with the New York Giants. Join Bob Papa and David Deal for exclusive interviews with your favorite Giant players and coaches like Odell Beckham Jr. and Ben McAdoo. The only place to hear 24/7 coverage of the NFL is SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on your phone with the SiriusXM app. That SiriusXM app also houses the MMA Junkie radio shows. Check it out, commercial free and in HD quality. What's the update, Danny, on our next guest?
He's probably calling right now.
All right, so let's take this call on line 1. Junkie Radio, who's this?
Do you believe everything you read on the VX?
It only has.
Believe everything that you.
It only
believe
has
everything you hear.
It only has a number. Yeah, I don't know who this is.
It's Hal.
Oh, it's Hal. What's up, Hal from Chicago?
What do you hear, man? When you see me, what do you hear?
I hear
real
greatness.
Creepy voice, dude. Change your voice. This is scaring me.
You want the Hail Mary parlay of the weekend?
Sure.
So
yeah, the one for the Mexico show?
That's right, Mexico City, baby.
All right, what is it?
So you know we got to take the altitude in mind here, you know?
Oh, good point. So, 7,800 feet or something like that, so it's more than a mile.
Yeah.
They're laughing at Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. And I got Moreno as much as Pettis is a tempting dog, but again, he's headlining the hometown kid. You know, he's just a little more Mexican, you know. So I'm going to go with Moreno. And I like Juban and
against Nico Price. Okay.
Against Nico Price, Grasso, 140 minus 145 all day against Marcos, and I'm going to go with Hashad. I think he's got just a little enough speed to keep Alvey, who throws 2 punches around. Evans doesn't throw either, but I think he'll throw 5 to Alvey's 3, and he'll win the round. And then Perez, man, I like the Mexican kid. That kid's 3-1-1 in the UFC, you know, and he's fighting Sukumath, the CES guy, tough kick Muay Thai guy. But Perez is one of those guys, just finds a way to win. So that pays about 9.5 to 1. No, not even. It's more than that. 50 wins you 960.
50 wins you 960. 100 pays you almost $2,000. Yeah, that's about right. 20 to 1 usually on a 5-teamer.
Yep, $50 wins you about almost 1,000. So, all
right, I might put like $20 on that one.
Yeah.
So 20 will win me about 500, right? Or something like that.
Round.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. I had Lamas. That was tremendous. Did you guys get him on the horn yet?
He's on the horn. So did you make money?
Lamas, good job, man. Chicago, all the way, man. Jimenez Groceries. El Milagro Tortillas. Never forget, man. Take care.
All right, we'll see you, Hal.
Look at the sign. Beat it, nerd.
All right, talking now to Ricardo Lamas, UFC featherweight, who's coming off a big win over Jason Knight at UFC 214. What's up, Ricardo? How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Good. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. We also have UFC lightweight Paul Felder here in studio with us.
Nice. What's up, Paul?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Just, you know, you're kicking ass. That's always good to see.
It sure was, man. That was something else. Ricardo, you just heard a fellow Chicagoan giving you some love. He won some money. So I'm going to see if I can get him to PayPal 10%. That usually goes to the fighter, and we'll funnel it to you. All right, my man?
That sounds good to me.
No, but seriously, this is a Vegas town. We talk odds. I couldn't believe that Knight was the favorite. I like Knight. I'm a fan of Knight. I think he's an exciting fighter. He's got a future. But Lamas has been top 3, top 5 for years. How is he a dog? Did you know you were a dog, and did that motivate you at all, especially against a young cat coming up?
I did not know until after the fight, and I was kind of as surprised as you are. I don't know, man. I just have like one of those reputations where I get slept on all the time. You know, like people just keep doubting me in every fight I'm in, even if I'm, you know, ranked in the top 5 and I'm fighting someone who's, you know, not even ranked, whatever. Like it's crazy.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
That people underestimate.
I don't know. Don't know.
Well, you know, you were originally supposed to have another opponent. You did get Jason Knight, and again, he's been doing tremendous, you know. So to go from the zombie to Knight, there wasn't much of a fall off there. This is yet another quality win for you as you get on this quest to get another title shot. And now there's a new champion. So I think one of the things that may have been difficult was selling Lamas Aldo Part 2, just because it's a talent-rich division. But now there's a new champion who also has beaten you, but not in a title fight. So now that you've had a few days to decompress and chill and get back with your family, tell us what you're thinking about for the rest of 2017, 2018. What consumes you the most? Another title shot? Just another fight? A new contract? All of the above? Like, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'd say all the above. I don't know. I don't even know how many fights I have left on this contract. I think I might have one or two. But re-upping another contract would be good. Fighting maybe one more time before the year's up. And man, if I can get back in there for a title shot, that's at the top right there. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I know. Is it for sure that Edgar is fighting Holloway? Is that already booked?
It's not booked, but I would say it's 90%.
Yeah, it's looking that way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading too. So, man, the winner of that fight would be great. I haven't fought Edgar yet, and even though we came to that verbal agreement on Twitter, UFC just didn't book us, and I think me and Holloway in a rematch would be great. We can make the whole fight look like the last 10 seconds of the first fight.
I like it when you guys stomped like bulls and collided. That was amazing.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah, Ricardo Lamas, our guest here. Our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. But just to be clear, you're pulling for Edgar, right? That's the easier route to a title shot, a guy who you've not fought.
It would be the easier route to a title shot, yeah. But I think a rematch with me and Holloway wouldn't be, a hard sell to the fans if they saw our first fight.
Okay. Goes, what do you have for Ricardo Lamas?
Ricardo, going back to the Jason Knight fight, I know he was chirping a little bit at the weigh-ins. Can you share what he was telling you?
Yeah, he was telling me that I was in a lose-lose situation and he's in a win-win situation, and I was just kind of smiling it off and telling him that I wasn't going to lose shit. So I was like, well, we'll see tomorrow. We both said that and just left it at that.
Were you surprised that the referee let the fight go as long as he did? It seemed like there were a couple moments, even in the stand-up, where he could have stopped it.
Yeah, I was right there looking in his eyes. And after every punch that landed, you could tell that he was out on his feet. I was even talking to Jason after the fight at the hotel, and he was telling me that at first he thought he had more left, but then he rewatched the fight and actually kind of lost consciousness on his feet. He didn't remember a lot of those punches that I was landing on him. So he was there, but he wasn't there,
Yeah. All right. Paul Felder's also co-hosting with us today. Paul, what do you have for Ricardo Lamas?
Ricardo, what has been your favorite snack or beer or all of the above since you got such an awesome win the other night?
Oh my God! As soon as I got home, I went a little crazy. I'm back up to like 175 pounds right now. I went nuts. So,
yeah, I think you're a lot like me, man. Yeah, you're a lot like me. I've been. Go ahead.
It's bad. I don't know how I gained that much in 2 days, but I went right to pizza and Italian food when I got home. There's a real good place close by me, and literally on the way home from the airport, I ordered it online.
My man.
Well, Italian food is there's a lot of it. What exactly did you order?
I had Gavadel. It's kind of like gnocchi, but they're like thinner and longer in a vodka sauce, and chicken franchise. It's like a lemon chicken, and then I ordered a pizza.
Of course. Well, you're going Italian. You might as well.
Yeah, this guy's a foodie too. This guy's a foodie, so he likes.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking him. I can tell. I can tell in the little bit of time I've talked to Ricardo and hung out with him one time in Boston. I was like, this guy knows food.
Yeah, there wasn't going to be no
Sbarro. He knows how to get big in between fights, like myself.
No Sbarro and no Olive Garden for this guy.
No.
Live life.
Yep.
That's hilarious. Ricardo, you shared something with us that night. I was part of the media scrum, and you're saying this was a tough camp, and at times it can be depressing. I wanted to give you a chance to clarify on that. is this the type of depressed where it's just, hey, I'm sad because I want to be near my family, or is this anything that should concern any of your friends and family, you know, because, you know, a lot of celebrities and actors, I guess, lead different types of lifestyles with different types of pressures, and so, you know, leaves a lot of us fans, because that's what I was that night. I was a fan. Leave us wondering, you know, like if this perhaps is in any way just you trying to communicate your feelings of what you may be feeling. So sorry to get deep on you here.
No, nothing like that. It's definitely just me wanting to be with my family, my kid, you know. Literally, I would FaceTime him every day, and it just sucks because you can't, like, reach out and hug him or anything. You just a face on a screen. So that was the main thing I was talking about. And it's, you know, when I'm here at home, I can go train my ass off at the gym and bust my ass and come home, and my kid will, you know, put a smile on my face as soon as I walk through the door. And it's just like that tension release that you get from being with your family and your kids. So me being alone in Miami, I don't get that when I get home from the gym. So I'm still like, you know, if I had a bad day training, I'll still be frustrated. I won't have anything to take my mind off of it. Just, you know, crap like that.
You've been in the game for a while. You've honed your skills very well. One thing I've been hearing, I heard it from Tyron Woodley this past weekend. I heard it from Michael Bisping when he beat Luke Rockhold. There's less time to think about the fight and everything that comes with it if you just do a 4-week camp. Now, obviously, it's not the most ideal situation, but have you ever thought about maybe just doing the last 4 weeks down in Miami and using everything else to stay closer to your family so that you won't have these, you know, like a 10-week long camp where you're away from your family?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much did that. I went down a little early this time because my son's birthday fell, like, right in the middle of my fight camp. So I went down early and spent about a week and a half down there, and then flew back to Chicago for my son's birthday, and then back again for 4 more weeks. So that's how I mainly do it. You know, I'll do at the most like 5 weeks in Miami.
You also told us about a new business venture, a UFC gym. How close is that to opening?
It's going to be moving really fast soon here. We're locking down a space in Naperville, and we're hoping to probably be open by this winter. As long as everything goes according to plan, we should be opening fairly quick.
How involved are you in it? Do they just slap your name on top, you know, or are you, I guess, an everyday guy, you know, there? And how much, you know, are you just kind of an investor, a part owner, the full owner? Like, are you a franchise owner? Like, can you explain that involvement?
Yeah, sure. It's so it's me and 2 other partners of mine. One of them is one of my teammates from college, who's one of my best friends, and another guy that I've known for years, who's, you know, a real smart businessman, knows a ton about real estate and everything like that. So he's helping out a lot with you know, the rental agreements and everything. And so we're the 3 owners. I'm going to be heavily involved in the gym. You know, I'll be there on a daily basis as long as I'm not out of town. You know, anywhere from teaching classes or you know, just hanging out at the gym or whatever. But I'm definitely going to be heavily involved, and so will my partners.
Are you going to be the green lighter in case anyone gets out of hand? You show them what's up.
Yeah, I might be tossing some wannabes out of the gym if they get a little too rough.
Hey, sign the waiver, man. Let's get down. That's the way it goes down.
Hey, man, where's Naperville? Isn't that in the outskirts?
Where is Naperville? You dropped it like it was
Naperville,
New York or L.A., but help us out a little. Where is Naperville?
Naperville is about, I would say, 20 minutes west of the city of Chicago.
Ah, the suburbs. He's smart. He's going after the soccer moms, and is that rich kids out there?
That's where the money's at. Yeah, it's a real nice city. So my partner, my buddy that I wrestled with in college, he's kind of the brains. So he had this program in his computer where it measured all sorts of different variables from city to city all around the Chicagoland area, and Naperville just kept popping up at the top of the list. So seems like a good area.
One of those 30,000 square feet monsters, or is it one of the smaller ones?
No, it's going to be a mid-box. So the space we're looking at right now is about 11,900 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just big enough to where we're going to be able to have, you know, pretty much everything we want, but it's not going to be like a huge monster like LA Fitness looking type facility.
Right. If Holloway or Edgar, the winner isn't next in your future. Is there just another fighter out there that you love to scrap with that you haven't fought, because you've had a lot of fights, across all the Zuffa platforms, starting with the WEC and now the UFC?
Yeah, I fought so many guys. I fought a lot of guys in the top 10 already. It's basically just to a point where I just want to fight whoever's going to bring me closer to that title shot. So, I leave it up to the UFC, and whoever they put in front of me, I'll fight.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Also cool to see on social media at Ricardo Lamas MMA. Folks, give him a follow. Putting down that cigar, that celebratory cigar. I saw that.
Yeah. That was for my brother. He loves those damn things. Like, we take a picture with the cigar for them. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not, big into smoking cigars because I've definitely had some in the past, but then I smell like an ashtray for like a week after that. Those things are serious.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there was anything to celebrate, it was that vicious KO over Jason Knight. But anyway, listen, my man, thanks for joining us here on the show. We always have fun talking to you, covering your career. So go enjoy some family time, and we will talk to you soon. Hopefully there's a fight booking, at some point in 2017. We'd hate to wait till 2018 to see you throw down again. You're definitely one of the best.
Yeah, for sure, guys. I'm actually going to be in Vegas around the weekend of the 22nd. My buddy's fighting on the Dana White Contender series. So if we could hook it up and maybe I can come in live on the show, let's try and do it.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna. In fact, I'm already going to give you the time. Well, when's he fighting?
That's pretty interesting, but my birthday's the next day, and George's a couple days after that.
Oh, man.
Wait, you're coming in September? Or he said August, I think. August, right?
September.
August.
August.
That's all right.
All right, so he's fighting on the 22nd?
Yeah, the 22nd of August.
That means you get in on the 21st. Can we have you co-host the 21st?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I'll have them fly me in early so we can get it done.
And then we'll get some Peruvian food?
Yes. See, now you're talking. How about we just skip the show? We'll repeat an old episode, and we'll just go eat Peruvian food the whole time.
That might not be bad. We'll just Facebook Live it. And Paul, of course, is saying, hey, where's my food? You're taking this guy out. I just co-hosted 2 hours, for crying out loud.
That's my week off. I was just looking that up. I'm like, am I going to be here, too? Because I'll jump in on this
Peruvian
party.
food's some of the best out there, man.
Do it.
All right, Ricardo, we'll follow up on that. Thank you very much for doing the show, all right, brother?
All right, thanks,
guys.
All right,
we'll see you. All right, folks, we're going to take our last commercial, and then we'll close up shop. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93, and this is Paul Felder.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Folks, we're wrapping up here. I want to thank Paul Felder for co-hosting today's show. Catch him tonight on the UFC Fight Pass, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. He will be the color commentator for tonight's event. Thank you to Angela Hill, Colby Covington, and Ricardo Lamas. One last question for you, Paul. We only got about 30 seconds, but are you no longer in Albuquerque, and is it all about Milwaukee, or do you float around?
No, I mean, I'm still cool with all the guys out in Albuquerque, but my home is now in Milwaukee with Rufus Sports. Still training at different gyms back home, too, and teammates back home, obviously staying in shape when I'm not in full camp. But full camp, kind of like how Ricardo was talking about, I kind of go away from the family and live in my dungeon.
Felder Paul is your Twitter handle. Anything else you want to promote social media-wise?
Instagram, same thing, Felder Paul.
Snapchat?
Not enough to even promote it right now. I gotta get my Snap game up.
Yeah, Goes just got into it. He's all about it.
No, I just
hated it.
I tried. I keep trying. I gotta really. Maybe I'll make it this today from now till I leave.
All right.
Snapchat time.
All right, folks. We are out of here. We'll see you tomorrow with another edition of MMA Junkie Radio. For Goes and Paul and Danny back east, I'm George. Go out there and be champions.
Down the drain.